Frame skip.
Get ready. It's going to be a very, very intense journey.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Frame Skip podcast. I am one of your hosts for the evening, Elijah Steele, and with me is Austin Eller.
Where do you keep finding the jingle balls, Elijah?
Meow. and we have George Loftus.
Hi.
I was expecting a balls, B-A-L-L-Z joke.
Oh, sorry.
And I don't
balls, B-A-L-L-Z, balls.
Oh, it's so good. How are y'all tonight?
Oh man, I'm hanging in there. It's good to be recording. That's how I'm feeling.
I'm okay. I'm at that point where I'm trying to decide if I have COVID or if I just smoke cigarettes, and that's why my throat hurts. So,
I'm trying to decide because I'm like actually sick. So,
yeah. So that's an interesting thing. Like almost all of the podcast members are sick right now. So that's fun. This whole thing is disturbed.
I don't actually think I'm sick, just so we're clear. I think I just smoked too many cigarettes.
You think it's just a cigarette?
On Christmas Day, I was like the only one. I was sitting in a corner wearing like an N95 mask while like my family was over. So like I'm taking every possible precaution.
On Christmas Day, I sat at my computer desk and watched the entirety of season 2 of Attack on Titan. So yeah, I wasn't really around people.
Oh, that sounds like a sadder Scrooge. Jeez.
Yeah, but Scrooge didn't have Attack on Titan to keep him occupied.
It's true. He would have loved it.
It's true. He wouldn't have been Scrooge anymore.
No.
Fellas, it is that time of the year. It is the Game Awards how do we want to start calling it? The Frame Skip Annual Game Awards, the Annual Frame Skip Awards.
We are not calling it the Frame Skip Annual Game Awards. You're absolutely not calling it that.
Okay.
Well, like, hey guys, like, I don't know, like, just initialize it. Like, just make an acronym out of the Frame Skip Annual Game Awards. Yeah, we're not doing that. Austin, I will send you $1 for
that. Valid. Okay. The Annual Frame Skip Awards.
The AFAs?
All right.
The AFASs?
the AFASs. Yeah. If you can come up with a better one, let me know.
That's the best we can do. That's the best.
We have a number of categories, which I think Austin counted, but I don't remember.
Yeah, it's like a number of them. It's like a number.
We have 10
numbers out. Yeah.
We have 10 categories to go over tonight, and we're going to save the best for last. So, fellas, let's get started with thing you're most proud of this year. Let's start on a high note. George, what are you most proud of?
I am most proud of Shortbox Summary. It is a podcast that I've wanted to do for a while. I made a website. I was doing some writing for it. And then I just kind of shelved it. And during the pandemic, I was like, this is your time to get it done. And I didn't do jack with it. And then finally, in the last 6 weeks or so, I feel like I've worked my little butt off and gotten, I think, tomorrow, the 4th episode is coming out, maybe the 5th episode. I can't even remember because we're just doing so much work on it. And I'm really, really proud of it. It's a lot of fun, and I get to talk about something I'm passionate about. And so far, I know Alden has been listening. Thank you so much, Alden. Really appreciate that. And the numbers are coming back, and we're double-digit listeners, which is really exciting for a podcast that just started a few weeks ago. So thank you, everyone who listens. Really appreciate it. And here's to 2022.
Heck yes. It is a great podcast. I love listening to it.
Hey, thank you.
Austin, what are you most proud of this year?
Honestly, I was trying to think of things that were applicable to our show and our audience, and I think I'm proud of us for just getting through this and still like doing an episode pretty much every week this year, because for me, I felt like there were a few times throughout the year where like I wasn't sure if we were going to make it because like Coach was leaving. Elijah, you were down for a couple months. Seth left. I was like, man, is this gonna stay together? And no, we've kept it alive, and I'm proud of what we do here still every week, and the content we put out. So I think that's for me the thing I'm most proud of is the fact that no matter how busy we've gotten, we've made an effort every single week to get something out there and get something enjoyable out there for the people that listen.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there because, like you said, we've managed to keep it going even when it was unclear exactly how it would turn out. And then we brought George on, someone I have talked to for the longest time. We met back at PAX in 2014 was when we first actually met in person. We hung out, went to Jimmy John's. If I remember
We
correctly,
did.
it was
As one
good.
does.
Yeah, it was the Jimmy John's by my old office, so I knew that very well.
Yeah, and that was the PAX where I learned about the song Uptown Funk because Seth kept singing it over and over again, and then George started singing it, and I'm like, I have no idea what you guys are doing right now.
I mean, it was only like the most popular song in the country.
I was gonna say, Elijah, did you live in like a hole? What, like, where were you?
I don't listen to radio,
Oh my god!
so
it was in like ads, like like car commercials and like stadiums. Like it was,
Sackboy's Big Adventure. It was in that.
Yes, it was
like 6 years later.
Yeah. Keep in mind, I like never heard ads because I didn't listen to radio. I didn't watch TV. Like I didn't have Hulu or anything. All I had was Netflix, which has no commercials. So I was hardly seeing any ads.
Damn.
Yeah. So like that was a real blind spot for me in music. But yeah, where I was going with this originally before we got all funky about it, we brought George on, who I'd talked to for a while, and like we got closer now, and I love talking to you. I love having you on here and like hanging out every week, and it's such a fun time. And that at the very least, it is a super fun time. And that itself makes it all worth it.
I look forward to this podcast every week. I'm like super paranoid when I'm doing like short box summary because I'm like, okay, I got to write the script. I got to do all this like pre-show work. I've got to do the actual performance of it and record everything. I've got to do the editing. And it's just like, it's super fun, but it's also like really stressful. And I understand that like Austin does like the lion's share of the work when it comes to this stuff. Like I know he takes care of the editing and he takes care of the uploading and making sure everything goes out to the podcast services. And so maybe it's just because of that, but this is just like my break for the week. Like this is like, oh, I get to talk about video games for an hour and a half with people who care the way I do. So it's always something I look forward to.
And for me, the thing I'm most proud of is kind of semi-related, but like I've gotten so much more into streaming, and I've started to do it. Like I have a schedule now. I'm hiring someone to do more emotes for me. I'm getting a like much better camera very soon. I'm taking it much more seriously and trying to be the best I can. And I had some streamer friends of mine really help out with pushing me in the best way possible. Like not in a like pushy push, but like a helpful push. And that has really helped me change the way I look at it. And it makes me feel like I do a better job because I care and at the same time am more relaxed about it.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome, Elijah, that you've been able to kind of stick to a schedule and stuff. I mean, I could never do that. So I think it's great what you've been able to do with your stream, and it's just awesome seeing you succeed with them. And you do get a lot of viewers and a lot of great feedback, and so it's good to see.
Thank you.
Always cool people in the chat whenever I've been there.
Yeah.
Always people I actually like enjoy talking to, and that's really nice. And Elijah, where can people find your streams again?
Twitch.tv/locallizardman. If you're listening to this, the date comes out. We're streaming Gundam Versus because Gundam is kind of a thing I'm really into again right now.
Hell yeah.
So we will go on to the actual gaming categories next. I'm going to skip this next one for the moment because we're going to save that for the very end. So we're going to start with Made Me Feel Like a Kid Again award. And I feel like that one's pretty self-explanatory. So George, what gaming thing made you feel like a kid again?
Nothing I played this year really sort of pushed me back to like a let's say like elementary school era George. Like I didn't feel like a kid again that way.
You
But
didn't play the Blue's Clues game?
I did
Dang it,
not play Blue's
George.
Clues. Although I did just grab Hannah Montana the movie, the game off eBay. That might have to be a video game I place in. I need the trophies, man. I said I would get to 100.
It's an easy platinum.
I'm still at 87, so I need some trophies.
Get
But I
Cthulhu
played
Saves Christmas.
I played 2 games this year that made me feel. One made me feel like I was 18 again, 17, and the other one made me feel like I was a sophomore in college again. And so the one that made me feel like a sophomore in college, that is my runner-up. It is Call of Duty Vanguard. The multiplayer was just such a blast. I haven't had that much fun playing online multiplayer in Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 2, and I just felt like I was back in my dorm room, just getting destroyed by people. Except now I'm actually good at Call of Duty multiplayer, so it's a nice change of pace. My winner for made me feel like a kid again, Emily is Away 3. That game is incredible. It's not the last time you're going to hear me talk about it tonight, but that game made me feel like I was in high school again and just so uncertain about the future, but also really excited about the present. It's just an incredible achievement for games. So Emily is Away 3 is the game that made me feel like a kid again.
So I just bought Emily's Away 3 off the Steam sale. And
Ooh.
Saturday, I'm going to be playing Emily's Away 2 and Emily's Away 3.
All right, Emily is Away 2 is a little shorter. I think that game's like 2 hours. And then
Yeah.
Emily is Away 3 is like 4 or 5.
Yeah, so
It's really amazing.
On Saturday, so
I played all 3 of them back to back to back, and it's just really amazing to see like the dude just like get more confidence in his like developing skills, and like just the evolution of that
That's
game
awesome.
idea is incredibly cool.
That's really awesome. Austin, what game made you feel like a kid again?
So this happened the first time I played this game, but then they ported it to the Switch, and it was already one of my favorite games pretty much in the past decade, and so I had to buy it again, and that is Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury.
Woo!
And I freaking adore that game. Andie and I got it the day it came out, and we just both of us sat down and played that entire game together. We 100% of the game. We literally did everything in the game. And just one of the most addicting and enjoyable games I've played in recent years that, I just sit there playing it. I'm like, man, this is just fun. Like I don't have to worry about a story or something going on. And it's just fun to sit here and play this with someone else and enjoy it together and dive into the gameplay and the collectibles and whatnot. And yeah, I mean, just really, to me, that game kind of sums up that award. I mean, it made me feel like I was playing, collectible and platformer type games when I was a kid. I just adore that game.
Awesome. I've heard a lot of good about it, and specifically I've heard a lot of people mention that it feels like classic Mario. Like it feels
it does.
old school.
It does. Yeah, I mean, it really brings back kind of an old school feel, like you said. I mean, it's like technically 3D kind of,
I guess,
but
yeah,
in a way.
But it's just nice to have like a different Mario that's not necessarily just your standard 2D at this point, and not just your Mario Odyssey Galaxy style game. It's nice to have something a little different, and I just love that game.
I mean, I love Odyssey. I think Odyssey is a fantastic game, but I think that 3D World and 3D Land are probably like the 2 best Mario games the last like 10 years. Like those games are just incredible and like heads and shoulders above any other platformer out there.
Yeah, I agree. Tenfold.
For me, the game that made me feel like a kid again was Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Ooh, I wanted to play that. Yeah.
Oh, hot damn,
It
yeah.
is a super fun game that it's as arcadey as you can get. Most of the time, you don't need to hit the brake like at all. You just need to hit the drift button and get decent-ish enough at drifting, and you have the game. It has like remnants of all the old tracks, like the dinosaur attack where it like spits fire out, and there's spider that spits webs and you have to avoid the web. The graphics, not as in like, oh, it's amazing graphics, but the cars look exactly like the Hot Wheels cars in real life. Like, they just have that look to them, and it just brings back so many memories. And it really did make me feel like a kid again, like, at an old arcade playing on one of the racing cabinets.
This game is like so loved. I wouldn't be shocked if we got a Hot Wheels movie in the next like 5 years because of this video game.
I mean, I would be up for it.
Yeah.
Need for Speed movie's underrated. Just gonna say
Okay.
it.
Okay. I'll let you have that. It's the holidays.
Next up, we have Wish the Developers Spent More Time With award.
Ooh.
George, what do you wish the developers spent more time with?
Aliens Fireteam Elite is a game I was genuinely excited to play. I love the Aliens franchise. Ridley Scott is a genius when he created it. James Cameron was a different type of genius when he extended it. David Fincher was a different type of genius when he twisted it in the third one. And then I don't really care for most of the Alien movies after that, except Prometheus. Prometheus was bomb. That said, I love this franchise. I love this world. I want to spend as much time in this world as possible. Not myself, but through digital representation. I don't want to be there. That sounds terrible. I got so hyped up. I started reading the Marvel comics, and then this game came out. And geez Louise, is this game just like a hot, steaming pile of garbage. It's set up like a free-to-play game, except it costs $40, so that hurts. And it's just like, imagine a Destiny, not even a raid, but like a Destiny, God, what are they called? Like the shorter missions. Yes. Every level is like a Destiny strike, except nothing is smooth. Nothing makes sense. Like, there's no customization. There was like no thought put into making this like a sweeping multiplayer experience. So man, I just wish like one more year with this, and I think this game would have been something great. But as it stands, I'm checking out the updates as they come out, the patch notes, and like if it doesn't get me too excited, like I am going to leave this game uninstalled.
That's upsetting.
Yeah. For me, I kind of interpreted this award, I think, a little differently. I was thinking more so of, the games come out, what game would I have liked to have seen kind of added on to or gotten more content updates throughout the year. And kind of a good runner-up for me was actually Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing got that huge update in November, and it got that DLC, which both the update and the DLC are fantastic. But it's kind of sad to me that that's the last we're getting. So for those that are unaware, that's the final Animal Crossing New Horizons update. They're not going to be updating it anymore. They won't be adding anything else to the game. Which was a little shocking to me because the game's only been out for about a year and a half. And so for Animal Crossing, in the past they've done updates for years. And so for this one, it was a little sad to me that they're not really supporting it that long. And so that's kind of the runner up for me. But then secondly, maybe a little shocking, but Monster Hunter Rise. It came out and it was a little lacking content-wise. There were a little fewer monsters than people were expecting, and the end game wasn't quite as fleshed out as Worlds. On that same point with World, we got, Elijah, I'm sure you remember this, with Monster Hunter World, we got a lot of monsters that were added in for free in like the months after the release of the game. And they kind of didn't really do that with Rise. They did it for like 2 months. So Rise came out, I want to say, in March.
Mm-hmm.
We got a free monster in like May, and then or it might have been April, and then another one in May, and that was like it. And so since then, all they've done is like one like costume crossover a month. So we've gotten like the Sonic crossover and the Okami one, but like no new monsters since then, which was a little surprising coming from World, because I want to say in the first year of World, we got at least 4 or 5 monsters added in, and with this one, it wasn't really quite on that same level. And so that's the big one for me. And now take that, I will say, kind of, I mean, I'm not highly upset about it because I know we're getting Sunbreak next year, the big kind of expansion for Rise, but still, I was a tad bit disappointed by that.
Yeah, that's fair. Like you said, World had gotten quite a few afterwards, and I never even thought of that with Rise. How, like I kept seeing, new Rise DLC, like these costumes and that, but you're right. I never did see new monster coming or anything like that. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, it's possible they're saving just a ton of stuff for Sunbreak, and that's great. I just wish we had gotten a little bit more drawn out, like, content release and some stuff leading up to Sunbreak.
Yeah, that's fair. That's really fair. For me, I wish the developers spent more time with Biomutant. There is so much I love about that game, but it feels like it could have used so much extra Q&A time.
Yeah.
And that's even with stuff added, even with fixes. And it's not so much even that a bunch of stuff is broken, it's that how did they not notice that this wasn't the best way to do this? Or how did they not notice that okay, for example, one thing is the narrator. They eventually added in that you could skip the narrator saying things. So, like, even if you skipped dialogue, the narrator would still fully read the dialogue. And the way it originally was, it would have the person, like the other person saying it, and it would show the subtitles at the bottom. And then the narrator would come on and say, he said, and then he reads it out, and it's like, but it wasn't at the same time. It was one after the other. And it's like, if they had spent more time with this, maybe more Q&A, they would have seen that this was not the best way to do this. And a lot of that was implemented afterwards, but a lot of that was a little too late for a lot of it. There's so much I love about that game, yet I never went back to it and I never finished it.
Yeah, honestly, I never really heard too many opinions on that game. I think you're one of the few people I know that played it, which is kind of surprising because I remember when it was announced, a lot of people were excited for it. So,
And yeah, it's just disappointing because there's so much good, so much potential in that game. And that's what's the worst part about it. Now, on to another time-related one. George, what game do you wish you spent more time with?
Oh man, I got a couple for this one. Let's see, where's my list? I wish I spent more time with 3 games. I wish I spent more time with Kena, Bridge of Spirits. That's probably my number 1 game I wish I spent more time with. I didn't actually start playing it until last week. And that game, I think we talked about on the show, is just gorgeous. Like, the animations in it are so fluid and so incredibly pretty. I just want to spend more time with it. Deathloop, I got stuck on one part, and then I had to cook dinner, and then I just literally never went back to that game. So I need to go back, actually spend some time with Deathloop. And Pokemon Shining Diamond and Pearl. Those are games I would need to spend more time with too, just because I do love, Platinum is one of my favorite Pokemon games of all time. I love that generation, unironically, so I want to go back and check it out. But I just have not. I've been so busy with Shortbox, just trying to read everything and taking notes and writing scripts and everything, that the late night time I used to dedicate to playing games has been slowly eroded into late night comic book time now.
That's fair. I understand that, where it's something interesting, but it just got put on the back burner.
Yeah.
George, hi, hello. Austin.
thanks, George.
What game do you wish you spent more time with?
Yeah, so I had a few as well. The most recent one, Halo Infinite. I honestly, I played a lot of it the first week, and I have just not gone back. So it's one I really want to dive back into. I don't think I'm in the mood for a shooter right now, or especially kind of an open world type shooter. So at some point I'll get back into it. Microsoft Flight Sim, that came out in July, and I played a lot of it the first month or so, and I'm dying to get back into that game. It's just that's a pretty big time sink, and so I'm finding the right moment for that. And then again, maybe kind of surprising, but Monster Hunter Rise. I actually did not play that much of Monster Hunter Rise compared to World. I want to say I played maybe less than 50 hours, which really is not that much for that game. So that's like that. If I had one answer, it would be that. It would be Monster Hunter Rise, because I need to get back into it and finish it up and get through some of the end game type stuff leading into Sunbreak. And I feel like I oddly enough, like I was so excited for that game, and then I just really didn't play that much of it, which was kind of sad. So that for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, I totally understand that, because I have two specific ones that really come to mind, which are Akiba's Trip, Hellbound, and Debriefed, which I really enjoyed. I just haven't gone back to it, and I don't know why. Like, I can't think of a reason other than something else probably came out at the time. But right along those lines, another game I was super excited for, Lost in Random.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that game.
I'm like on world 2 or 3 of, I'm gonna guess, 6, and like I just haven't gone back. I
That
don't
seems
know
like
why.
that seems like a good stream game.
It kind of is, because it has a rather achievable platinum,
Mm-hmm.
but probably not a platinum that's the most fun to stream, getting the
Gotcha.
platinum. So that's why I'd kind of torn on that one.
Fair enough.
Fellas, George, what game do you wish you played but didn't?
Oh man, a couple for this. I got 3 for this one as well. I'll start with my runners up. Number 3, the game I wish I played but didn't. Hitman 3. I recently grabbed it on sale through GameStop. I think it was like $15 or something. So I will check it out. I've said before that I find stealth games simultaneously like the most rewarding to play, but also the most stressful to play. So we'll see how I handle this one. Mafia Definitive Edition is my number 2. Wish I actually got to play, just because that looked gorgeous. And those games just ran like ass on the original Xbox. Like the original Mafia was just a PC game that probably should not have been brought to consoles because it wasn't great. And then Mafia 2 on PS3, I thought was like a lot of fun, but still not really like living up to the hype. And then Mafia 3 I actually really liked on PS4. I think that game is actually like pretty underrated. My number 1 game though, Tales of Arise. Wish I got to play it. I played exactly 20 minutes of this game and fell asleep with a controller in my hand. And I think I moved my character exactly twice to go across different locations in the opening area. So I'm going to go ahead and say I did not play that game.
That's fair, yeah.
So Tales of Arise is my number 1.
Austin, what game or games do you wish you played but you didn't?
Yeah, so I think my runner-up would be Guardians of the Galaxy. I was somewhat interested in that game leading up to it, but just hearing kind of the praise, especially from like you, George, and Elijah, both of you, having played that game, it's one that like I wish I had had the time to play this year, because it sounds fantastic, and I'm a huge Marvel fan and love those characters, and so at some point I'll go buy it when it's on sale and get into it. But yeah, I mean that's kind of my runner up. But my number 1 actually is Ace Attorney Chronicles.
Hey!
I actually had that game pre-ordered and I was going to buy it, and then I want to say that was the same month as Monster Hunter Stories 2, which I knew that those two games just weren't going to fit together, because Stories 2 is like a 100-hour long game, and I'm assuming Ace Attorney Chronicles, based off the old Ace Attorney games, is probably at least 45, 50 hours, and so I knew that those just weren't going to mix up in the same month, and so eventually I figured I would go back and buy it, but I still haven't purchased it yet. So that's
Sorry, is Ace Attorney Chronicles, is that like the HD collection of like 1, 2, and 3, or is this the one where it's like feudal Japan?
That's
no,
the
this
Feudal
is
Japan one.
Yeah, this is the collection of the Great Ace Attorney 1 and 2, which until this point had only been in Japan. So they have never been released. They were 3DS games originally, and they were never here until this year. So
I kind of love that trend though of releasing 3DS games on PlayStation 4 here in the States.
Oh yeah,
I support that 100%.
Me too.
and like Austin saw, I just grabbed those games off PSN. I'm really excited to play them.
They're great games, and like I said, I've heard Chronicles, both Great Ace Attorney games, I've heard are fantastic. So
Like George, for me, I have 3 that I grabbed all 3 and just haven't played them yet. And my runner-ups are Twin Mirror from Don't Nod, which is a psychological thriller that plays similar to like Life is Strange. The other one is Tormented Souls, which is a very old school survival horror game. And I've heard very good about it.
Hey, you love those. Yeah.
I do. And my number 1 is the same as George's. I have Tales of Arise just sitting on my shelf waiting for me, and I think I'm going to make that a January game potentially.
Ooh.
Because I've heard amazing things and I really want to play it.
What are the chances that we would both have the same one? Like, because I feel like this isn't a George game at all. Like, this isn't the type of game I normally seek out, which is why I'm trying to seek it out, trying to expand them horizons.
For some reason, I was trying to think of a joke, but Tales, no, I got nothing.
I'm just proud of myself. I think this is called growth, you guys. I'm really excited. Proud of myself.
I think it is too. I'm proud of you, George.
I did it.
Next up, we have Best Game Adjacent Purchase. George, what gets your Best Game Adjacent Purchase award?
Mine is the GC HD Mark II dongle from Eon. This is the thing that you plug into the back of your launch GameCube. It needs like the digital AV out port, and that combines with just the normal AV out port, and then you get to use an HDMI cord. With your GameCube, yeah, it cleans up the picture, makes things run a little brighter. Good stuff.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's actually on sale right now for about 10% off what I paid for it. So it's on Amazon. It is expensive as hell. It's like, even with 10% off, it's like $140. But I absolutely love GameCube. I want to start streaming for Shortbox Summary. I'm going to start with like Spider-Man 2 probably. I'm just so excited to start playing old nerdy comic book games that I've been dying to replay anyway. So this seemed like an important purchase.
That I approve. I very, very much approve. GameCube is wonderful. Looking at you, Skies of Arcadia Legends. Austin, what gets your Best Game Adjacent Purchase award?
So, I'm going to do 2 because I bought both of these this year, and that is the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X.
Ooh,
that's fair.
Yeah, because I was like, you know what goes with games I've been playing, and why not the systems I've been playing them on? So, yeah, I mean, I bought my PS5, I want to say in January, if I'm remembering correctly, and then I bought my Series X in July. And so I love both systems. I mean, I think the time I've had with them both has been fantastic. And honestly, you know, I know a lot of people are complaining about like lack of newer gen games, but we've talked about this before, and the upgrades that all those PS4 and Xbox One games are getting, I mean, it has solidified the value behind those purchases for me. And yeah, I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed both my Series X and PS5. I've been playing a lot more of my Series X recently, but I do plan to dive back over to my PS5 for a bit. Elijah and I are going to play some Attack on Titan 2 soon, which I'm excited for because that game has an unlocked frame rate for PS4 Pro, which was a little iffy. It was probably running at like 45, 50 frames on PS4 Pro, but I'm assuming on PS5 it should be able to handle 60 solid. So I'm looking forward to playing that.
God, I'm so excited for that. Can't wait till my copy comes. For my Best Game Adjacent Purchase award, I also have 2. One of them you can't see from here, but I have an Akali figure from KDA since it's adjacent to a game, League of Legends, but it's really neat. It comes with a blacklight flashlight that when you shine it on the figure, it has all the different like neon markings she has from the music video for Pop Stars.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But my top award has to go to the Monster Hunter Rise Edition Switch, which I absolutely love. It is the like newer Switch that came out, not the OLED, but like the newer one with the better battery life and everything. And it just has super cool markings. I like never use my dock, but now I have a reason to keep my dock out because it's just cool looking.
Elijah just hanging out with his dock out.
Exactly. Rock out with my dock out.
Yeah, buddy.
No, that is a beautiful system though, and like I still wish I had bought it because I have the Animal Crossing one, and I love that thing. But of course, Monster Hunter is pretty much my favorite series aside from Zelda. So,
and my favorite thing about it compared to like the Animal Crossing one, the Animal Crossing Joy-Cons were just a color. The Monster Hunter Rise Joy-Cons actually have like symbols and everything on them.
Yeah, they have like designs. Yeah.
The biggest thing about the Animal Crossing one, I was excited until I'm like, well, when I'm playing my Switch handheld, nobody's gonna see the back, so just having the back be the only different thing, it's almost as if you don't have a special edition Switch.
Well, and honestly, Elijah, the back of it, I will say that's the most disappointing thing about the Animal Crossing one. The back of it, you can, unless you're really looking at it, you can hardly see that anything's on it because it's like all black. So it's not painted gray or anything. The entire thing is black, and so it's very hard to see anything on it. Unlike the Monster Hunter one, where it's got gray paint for the decals or whatever you want to call them. So
it's sexy looking Switch.
I never owned a special edition console until this year, and I got the Halo Series X. I get it now. Like I completely get it. Like I grabbed like a custom case for my original Xbox. It's like a mint green. Like I think that looks like fly as hell, but I've never had like an officially licensed special edition console. And like, yeah, I get it. Now I'm like looking at things. I'm like, I should have gotten the Animal Crossing Switch. I should have. I don't even like Animal Crossing that much, but like, damn, that's just like a cute little console.
I have the Halo Reach Edition Xbox 360 up there.
That one's
it's
sick.
One of my favorite consoles I've owned.
Was that one still like the launch 360 style, like the top loading HD? Or was it the Slim?
It was the Slim.
Okay.
Because it was 2009.
Oh, that's like the grayish one, right?
Yes, it's silver. Has like Halo symbols all over it.
Hell yeah.
Really cool looking. Next up, we have the Most Fun Trophy/Achievement Chase Award. George, what is the most fun you've had this year chasing achievements or trophies?
All right. I got 2 runners up. This year, PlayStation gave away Zombie Army 4 as part of PlayStation Plus. Me and my friends from San Francisco downloaded it, and we just had an absolute blast going through and playing it. And 3 of us got the trophy, the platinum trophy in it. Unfortunately, Fabio did not. I think he fell a little short. But I am willing to download the game again and go back and play it more with him. My other runner-up is Immortals Phoenix Rising. That game came out last year, but I didn't get to play it until January of this year. And it's just an incredibly smooth. It's like if Assassin's Creed, like the new style Assassin's Creed games, and like Breath of the Wild had a baby. So it's just a pretty fun puzzle fest, and you're going into like these little dungeons and whatnot. I would totally grab a sequel to that game. I think it was incredibly fun. My number one, though, Guardians of the Galaxy. That is just a super fun game to play. I love that you don't have to get all the collectibles, just a majority of the collectibles. That's a great touch. And that game is completely customizable. So, like, if you're actually having issues with, if it's platforming, if it's combat, like, you can actually, like, adjust. Like, difficulty isn't, like, easy, medium, hard. It's, like, everything is, like, on a slider. And so it's just, like, such a customizable experience. I think it's really impressive. And so that is, I don't have the platinum yet. I'm going to get it this week. But I think that is probably my number one, especially because it came out this year.
Very interesting. Because there's no way I could put that one on my list.
Oh, really?
Because it has the worst thing, which is very specific battle request trophies, which is like to have Groot use his ability on this certain creature, which if I heard from someone, it shows up once in the game.
I've gotten all those like without even trying. Like
I got one.
Okay. You can go back and play it. Just don't go back and play it until you get all the collectibles, because if you go back, lose your that part is a mess. I will admit that. However, if you're just like going through, like, I just think the game is like really well designed to platinum.
This conversation, Elijah, makes me think of what's the trophy in Persona 4 Golden that's like get all of Rise's dialogue or something.
Yeah.
You said you like tried so hard to do it, and I just came across it like without even trying.
I printed off a 14-page pamphlet, stapled it, and then went line by line as I'm playing the game. Oh, she said this. Flip, 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 flip. Oh, there it is. Cross it off. Attack. Next thing. Oh, she said, all right, let's cross it off. Attack. Next one. Yeah, that's what I had to do.
Yeah.
And Austin's just here like, oh, I accidentally got it.
Yeah, I wasn't even trophy hunting, and I was like, yeah, I got like the rarest trophy in the game. No big deal. Like, whatever.
I remember listening to Podcast Beyond back in like 2011, 2010, it must have been. And they were talking about getting the platinum in the original Infamous. And they were like, oh yeah, we had to print off the maps of all the shard locations. And I remember listening at the time being like, oh, that's pathetic. Like, I can't believe like they had to do that. Like, they could just like organize it better. And then like fast forward to like 2018, 2019, when I was playing through Infamous, I totally did the same thing and like printed it off. And I was just like taking a Sharpie. I'm like, okay, I got that one. Oh, there's one supposed to be here. Well, we'll see about that. And just going through and doing it. And then like still missing one and like having to Google like most common missed shards on Infamous PS3 and just like hoping to God it was the second one on that list. So I got very lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, I never got all the shards, but I understand.
Yeah. It's not that bad. It's a good podcast trophy.
Yeah. Austin, what is the most fun you had trophy/achievement chasing this year?
Yeah, so my runner-up would actually be Control. I had a really good time doing the achievements in that game, and there were a few that were a little harder, like the doing all the I forget what they're called, Elijah, but like the bounty things that like you have to select and get through those, and that was just something I didn't really care to do too much of in that game. So that trophy was a little annoying, but at least it wasn't like an extensive amount that they required you to do. I think it was like less than 20 or something.
I think 25, but
Yeah.
you could hold like 5 at a time or something like that,
Right.
and they would just come rather naturally usually.
Yeah. So I had a great time with that one, but the one that I had the most fun with, platinum wise, was Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. It was a relatively challenging platinum, but still fun. Like, it didn't really have you going out of your way doing things that you wouldn't have done otherwise. It was very enjoyable to me as far as going through and just upgrading your weapons and like finding collectibles. It was not necessarily shoot this guy this certain way with this certain gun 5 times or whatever it is, and so that was one of my favorites. And one thing I really liked about it is you didn't actually have to get all the upgrades. There were like, I forget what the exact trophy was, but I want to say there's something in the game of like upgrade your weapons most of the way or something like that. It's not like you have to 100% the game to get the platinum,
cool.
which I actually really liked.
I completely forgot about that game. That's a great answer. I'll add that to my runner-up because that is good.
Yeah.
I went back and played the original Ratchet, or not the original, but like the PS4 remaster,
the
Ratchet
2016 one.
and I had to like replay that game, like 6 times to like get all the weapon upgrades. Like that platinum almost broke me, like just like mentally. I was like, I can't do this again. I cannot do this campaign again. It got to the point where I could run through the campaign in like 3 hours, 2 hours, like just because like everything was so upgraded and I knew exactly what to do because I'd done it so goddamn many times. It is amazing how much better the Rift Apart Platinum is than the 2016. It is night and day.
Yeah,
Interesting.
It's like I said, it's not necessarily easy, but I'd say it's about an average challenge, and I just had a great time with it. So
awesome. I also have 2 runners up. One of them being Resident Evil Village, which it had a fun trophy list. I think I've played through the campaign. I'm on my 6th or 7th time right now, and I'm currently doing my knife only run.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. But like I'm so overpowered right now and I'm playing on easy that like it's fine. Another runner up is Chernobylite, which the trophy list for that is pretty straightforward, and it's do any main story mission and do any mission that gets you a partner. And it's like you have the platinum. But my main pick for this, and we've joked about it before, but has got to be the PS5 version of Final Fantasy XIV. Which it's so much better. First off, because it keeps track. So like do 2,000 dungeons, it now keeps track and lets you know how you're doing. Unlike the PS4 and PS3
Yeah.
like do 1,000 dungeons. How many did you do? I don't know.
That was rough. That was really rough.
And
it's such a bummer, man, because like they promised that there would be like trophy tracking, right? Like when they launched the PS5, and like not every game I played does it.
No, not every game does.
It's infuriating, and like Xbox does it perfectly on their system still.
Meanwhile, you have Final Fantasy XIV, which does tracking in the main story quests and tells you are 2,600 or 20,650 out of 28,540, and you're sitting here like, what do those numbers mean? The numbers, Mason. What do they mean? Next up, we have the best game you played that came out this year award. George, what is the best game you played that came out this year?
Isn't that Goaty?
Yeah.
Weren't we saving that for last?
So I was doing just best game you played this year because that was the Goaty for us.
Oh, that's our ultimate Goaty.
Yes, just the best
That's
game
true.
you played this year.
Yeah, because it could still include games that came out this year, I suppose.
Yeah, it doesn't have to have come out. What is your game of the year? Doesn't have to mean it came out this year.
Emily is Away 3 is my game of the year. That game is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Made me feel like a kid again.
I can't wait to play that this weekend.
The entire thing just plays out in like Facebook Messenger and Facebook, and it was back like before Facebook Messenger was like its own like little pop out, like a separate app, but it just plays in like a browser window, and like Emily's Away 2 did like this really cool thing where, you know, like you'd actually like download a picture. They'd be like, "Oh, I took a picture at the beach. Don't you want to see it?" And like they would send you like an image because like that one still played out on AOL, I think. And so like you download it and then like it would be on your desktop and you had to like click and open the picture on your desktop. Like it just does like little things like that. And then Emily is Away 3, like, "Oh, hey, I just made a new playlist. You want to check it out?" And they'll send you like a YouTube page that's like, you know, it's not YouTube, but like it looks like YouTube from like 2007, 2009. And it's just like, oh man, all these songs were bangers back then. Still bangers now, but like I just remember like, you know, 17-year-old George just getting all kinds of hype listening to him. And it was such a good nostalgia trip, and like it actually was really interesting to play just like as an adult trying to like remember what it was like to be a teenager and like how I felt back then. And it was just a phenomenal experience.
This has no bearing on how excited I am to play it, but I'm just curious. Is one of the songs "Let It Rock" by Kevin Rudolph?
I don't believe so.
Well, that's just upsetting, but I get it. No, I'm.
The game plays out like in seasons, so like you play fall, winter, spring, summer, and so I don't remember all the songs. And like I made a very specific choice in who I was dating, and they send you very different types of songs compared to the other.
That's awesome. So. I'm really excited to play it. I loved Emily's Away. And I have Emily's Away 2 and 3 installed on my computer ready for me this weekend.
I like almost got fired. I worked at a game developer at the time, and like I had nothing to do that morning, and I heard Emily's Away was good, and it was like free on Steam, so I just checked it out, and I just played it for like 45 minutes straight. And then like it got to the point where like, oh, I'm gonna get yelled at. And then like the other devs were like, "Oh, hey, what's this?" And like I just had like people like surrounded me, and they were just like, "Wait, this was like free to play on on Steam?" I'm like, "Yeah, isn't it kind of interesting?" And like they were all just like really into it. I'm like, okay, maybe I won't get fired. Maybe I'll just quit.
Austin, what is the best game you played that came out this year?
Well, probably a shock to nobody that's listened to this podcast, but Forza Horizon 5. Easily. I just have adored my time with this game, and you know, I know for most it's probably just more Forza. You know, it's a different map, it's new cars, and honestly, yeah, that's probably true. But still, I loved the crap out of this game. This was a great year for games. There were so many other games. Runner-up wise, I would say Metroid Dread, It Takes Two, Deathloop, Ratchet and Clank. There were just so many great games this year. But Forza, for me, just completely tops the list. It's one of those games where I can play it forever, and I know I'm going to be playing it for years to come until Forza Horizon 6 or whatever comes out. And it's very telling for me because the game, honestly, up until this point, and I think they've fixed most of these issues now, but the online was like pretty broken for a while. And even then, it's like, man, I don't even care about the online. Just the single player itself is so freaking good. And so I probably played about 40 hours so far, but it's the kind of game that I can jump into no matter what and enjoy my time with it and love every single second and every car that I take control of and just enjoy in that game. It to me is a 10 out of 10 video game.
That's awesome. It is a fantastic game. For me, I've talked about a lot, but the medium really shocked me. I thought the story was really good. It was really fascinating. It kept me into it the entire time. I think I played this game in 2 sittings, and that's only because I had to go to bed. I didn't know you got it.
I got it.
Yes.
I got off the plane. Yeah. That's a Friends joke.
I've never seen Friends. Well, I've seen bits and pieces of an episode. But the soundtrack is amazing. It's so well done. The game isn't perfect by any means, but I really, really dig what they did with it, and I just cannot stop talking about the praises. That I love that game.
Yeah, it's a game I want to play at some point. It looks very interesting, and so it's nice that it's one of those games that really shows off the power of the new systems too.
It's on Game Pass.
Man,
Well,
Elijah,
well,
you just love Polish games, don't you?
I do. I've talked about a few of them tonight. Now, for our ultimate GOTY, the best game we played this year. George, what is the best game you played?
I mean, the best game I played this year is Emily's Away. That's why I worded the awards differently. That's why I wrote it the way I did. The best game I played this year is Emily's Away. The best game I played that didn't come out this year, number one is Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. That game was just so much fun. That game was absolutely incredible. Never touched it before. Never had the N64 version, the Dreamcast version. I played the
wow.
at the movie theater. They had like the arcade. But holy crap, that game is just it's everything I want in a racer. It's just super arcadey. It's breakneck speed. It's crazy courses. It is probably the best racing game I played in the last like 5 years. Runners up, Zombie Army 4. And yeah, I guess Spyro 3, it would probably be like the other one. I had a really good time going back and revisiting the Spyro games.
That's crazy to me that you had never played Racer before this year. I didn't realize that when you were talking about it on the show.
I really don't care for the prequels at all. Like, it was one of those things where like I completely like just distance myself from anything like prequel related, except for Republic Commando. I thought that game was dope.
Yeah, Racer is fantastic. So that's a great pick.
I agree. Austin, what about yourself? What are the best games you played this year?
Well, Elijah. It's funny you ask, because it's Control. And honestly, if I could say the best game of the last 10 years, it would be Control.
You think that's the best game of the last 10 years?
Honestly, yes. I think it's probably one of my top 3 games of all time. Like it is, to me, it is a perfect video game. It's funny because I started it earlier this year when I got my PS5. I want to say it was like in March or so that I started it up, and I played like the first probably 3-4 hours, and I sat it down because I think, if I'm remembering correctly, Monster Hunter Rise had come out.
Hmm.
And so I jumped back into it in maybe June, July, somewhere around there, and just fell hard for this game, to the point that I immediately went and got the platinum, and like now I'm thinking about just buying it again on Series X and like playing it again and getting the like full achievement score on Xbox, because I love this game that much. And no, seriously, I mean, this game is, if you have not played Control, it is a must play, especially if you got a Series X or
I
PS5.
never finished it. I kind of
Yeah.
want to like check it out on PS5 because it ran like on my PS4. So I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
I'll just wait for a patch, and like the patch like never really came.
Honestly, I think aside from Forza, I think this is the best looking game on the new system still. Like, it is a major upgrade and looks gorgeous on PS5. So yeah, I mean, I can't wait to dive back into this world when they bring out Alan Wake 2 eventually, and we've got the co-op game set in this universe on the way as well, and just a lot to look forward to. But I for me, this game, I think, solidified Remedy as potentially my favorite developer, because I already loved Alan Wake. Alan Wake was already one of my favorite games of all time, and this game, I mean, like I said, seriously, it is probably in the running for like potentially my favorite game of all time.
I still remember in 2019 when I said Control was my game of the year, and the big thing was just, how is it better than Resident Evil 2? And I'm like, no, really, Control
Yeah.
is actually amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. And you should play it, George. You really should.
Like, that is not a game that we say lightly that should be played.
No, I understand. Like, I get the pedigree that Remedy comes with. It's just like it ran like butt on my PlayStation 4.
Yeah,
and like I'm not gonna. I saw it took like 20 hours to get the platinum. I'm like, dude, I'm not spending 20 hours with like a chuggy frame rate where like the game crashes on me. Like that's just not happening.
Well,
like,
did you get the? It was on PlayStation Plus like earlier this year. Did you get it on there? Do you know?
I did, yeah.
Okay,
Well,
cool.
there you go. You've got the PS5 version. So
And
yeah,
it's
it just
complete with all DLC.
yeah,
cool. But like, does that screw up my PlayStation 4 trophy? Like, am I just never gonna get that platinum because it runs like butt on the PS4
Absolutely.
version? That's what that means.
It's a separate trophy list. Yeah.
Oh, Remedy. Like, that's awful.
As someone who has the platinum on PS4, I am very okay with this.
Okay.
For me, I have two runners up, and you are going to notice a kind of pattern with mine. And the first runner up is Cthulhu Saves Christmas.
You just played this last week.
I literally just played this. This game is super fun. It's super funny. I would say it breaks the fourth wall, but there is no fourth wall. Because at times it'll be Cthulhu yelling at the narrator or acknowledging, like, I'm the main character of the game, so no, I'm not going to die in this encounter. But it's just super fun, super charming. It's not very long, very easy trophy list. Man, I'm talking to George on this one. I just can't recommend that game enough. It genuinely surprised me. The next runner-up is a game called Simulacra, which originally was a phone game, but then came to like Steam and consoles, and the whole thing plays on a phone on the game, and you go through like videos and emails and texts. The whole thing is this phone was just left on your doorstep, and you're going through these texts, videos, phone calls and stuff to try and find out who the phone belonged to and what happened to him. And it's like a semi-horror game in a way. And it had me intrigued the entire way through.
Yeah, it's a neat concept. I like that.
But the game that I think is my absolute favorite that I played this year that didn't come out this year, and keep in mind, I played Mass Effect 1 and 2, is called Dark Knights with Poe and Monroe. It's another FMV game where it's six... What's it called when the like episodes have nothing to do with each other?
Anthology?
And yeah, anthology vignettes.
Vignettes. That's
Vignettes
probably
is, I think,
closer.
the one I'm
Yeah.
thinking of. Where it's just, it takes place basically around this radio station where the main characters, Poe and Monroe, do this radio show, and there are different things, and it's basically like a Twin Peaks strange thing happens in this episode, and it's a fun FMV game, and I absolutely adored this game. I went back and got the platinum in it afterwards. I just had so much fun. Because of this game, I went back and played other games from this developer, because the characters are in other games, and this game referenced other games of theirs. Like, there's another game called The Shape-Shifting Detective, and in it, Dark Knights with Poe and Monroe plays on the radio in the game. And that's where these characters come from. And then in Dark Knights with Poe and Monroe, there's actually an episode that basically they see this hypnotherapist, and then it takes place inside the game The Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker, which I played before and had a lot of fun with. And it's an FMV where you're playing as this fake psychiatrist who's trying to get down to who murdered this person. And like, an episode of this takes place inside that game. It was just super fun. And I just was smiling the entire time.
That's awesome. No, that's cool. I mean, honestly, I didn't really know there was this whole like subgenre of like FMV stuff still out there, Elijah, until like you started talking about a lot of this stuff this year. So it's interesting.
FMV games are something I never really talked about, but I enjoyed. But I actually have started to get into it much, much more. Like, I have the Complex to play. I just grabbed, I think it's called I See Black Clouds, or I Saw Black Clouds.
Man, the Complex, I want to shout this out just because it's got Katie from Letterkenny, who plays like Wayne's sister, like the lead character's sister. And if you're not watching Letterkenny, that show is like pretty funny, and I can't recommend it enough. And she's awesome. Like, I'll watch her in anything.
I'm curious to check the show out. I've wanted to for a while. But yeah, the fact that 2 FMVs ended up on my best games I played this year that didn't come out this year list, and like, unironically, not because like FMVs are generally, they're not the best because they kind of try and take themselves too seriously, which makes them bad, but like, I enjoy them for that.
Oh yeah.
Now, for the last award, we have most anticipated game of next year.
Oh no, sorry. I've got some bonus awards I want to give out.
Yes, please do.
Best downloadable only game award. I give that to Operation Tango. 80% of that game was an absolute joy to play, except for 2 levels that made me want to blow my own brains out. Regardless, it still gets the best downloadable only game award. Although I feel like it's probably available on disc now. However, it was like a PlayStation Plus giveaway. If you want to just call it the best PlayStation Plus game award, that wouldn't get it, but it's closer probably. That would be Control.
That would be Control.
Yeah. It would be. You guys are really sleeping on Zombie Army 4. I'm telling you.
I have it. It's a fun game.
It's a great game. It's such a fun platinum. The I'm Not Mad, I'm Just Disappointed award. I have that for 2 games. Runner-up is Battlefield 2042. The winner is Grand Theft Auto Definitive Edition. How dare you call that definitive when it runs like crap?
I give that award to No More Heroes 3.
Okay, that's fair. Let's see, the game you forgot about until GOTY Conversation Award. I've got 2 to talk about here. I've got New Pokemon Snap. Forgot that came out this year. Played it for several hours, just completely in one ear, out the other. Forgot about that game existing. And then Mario Golf Super Rush. I played that game for 30 hours and completely forgot that came out this year. And I really like that game, but man, it just does not hold a candle to stuff that came out later in the year. The game I wish I didn't buy award. I've got a runner-up. It is Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. That game runs like butt. Like, it's just not a fun control scheme if you're playing in handheld mode. And then if you're playing docked mode, it's just not very fun to play. It's super exhausting, and I wish they could just spend more time on it. And number 1, the game I wish I didn't buy, Back 4 Blood. I bought that because I thought I was going to play with a bunch of friends, and then they all backed out, so I just bought this game for no reason. How often do you play it, Elijah?
I play it whenever a friend says, let's play Back 4 Blood. I'm like, I'm in.
All right,
to be fair, George, I told you it was on Game Pass. and that's the way to
Well,
go.
it's
So
okay. It's crossplay. Oh, I don't give a crap about achievements. I wanted the trophies, and so I thought I was going to play it with friends on PlayStation, and they all backed out. So screw them.
Yeah, you got me.
Except Elijah. Elijah's my only real friend anymore. Sorry, Austin. And finally, the game that didn't live up to the hype award. I give this to Far Cry 6. I really, really wanted to love Far Cry 6. It just went too far. Like it's just too much is going on in that game to the point where it's not really fun. It's really stressful, and I don't know. It's just not a great UI UX experience.
can I add something? Can I add something here? Because honestly, I didn't think I had an answer to this one, but no, I do. It's Back for Blood.
Back 4 Blood didn't live up to the hype.
No. And the thing was, I enjoyed it. You know, Elijah and I and a couple friends of the show played it a few times, and I even played it with Andy some. But it was, I think my issue is, it is literally Left 4 Dead to the point where it feels like I'm just playing a game I've already played. And so, to me, I think that's why I dropped off of it so quickly.
I get that.
But again, that's why I'm glad I got it through Game Pass. I don't think I honestly probably would have paid $60 or $70 for it.
It was just on sale, like the Ultimate Edition, for like $40.
Yeah, that's also let's see, another didn't live up to the hype award. Buying games the day they came out.
Yeah.
Don't do that. You have enough games to play to last you until they're all going to be on sale for at least 50% off between Black Friday and the last Friday in December. So like just don't buy video games next year. Just don't do it. Just wait and you'll be fine.
The worst one that I saw this year was Brain Age Academy, the new one for Switch.
Yes.
Just came out on like the first week of December. Literally within 5 days, it was half off.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah.
That feels like a grift. Like that feels like a con on the people who like love it the most.
Yeah. Because Andy went out and bought it like the day it came out. And because she was really looking forward to it. And then like literally within 5 days, because it's a $30 game, if I'm remembering right. It was on sale for $15 on Amazon. So
that's rough. Elijah, do you have a didn't live up to the hype award? Just because we got Austin, we got me.
Really, the big two for me I already talked about, and one was Biomutant, and the other one was Lost in Random. It's fun, but like the fact that you see this game and there's no jump button. Why is there no jump button?
Not what you want.
It's like it's a platformer light. So like it feels like you should be I don't know. It feels like it is a good game, but it could have been better.
All right, sorry. Now let's go back to the award you were pushing before.
Let's hit up the most anticipated game of next year. George, what game or games are you highly anticipating for 2022?
I've got 5, and the reason I've got 5 is because I'm only 100% sure one is coming out.
That's fair.
So my runners-ups are Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin.
Which is definitely coming out.
That is definitely coming out?
Yes.
Okay, I've got 2 that are definitely coming out.
It has a release date for March.
Okay. Well, I mean, also it had a release date for the end of the year, but yeah. Or was that the announcement? The announcement for Final Fantasy 15 had like the trailer that had
for 16.
So I don't know. Things are getting pushed. I feel like Omicron's gonna like make things a little weirder. Splatoon 3 was on my list. Pokemon Legends Arceus. I'm just curious if that's going to be like a good game or not. Starfield, because I doubt that game is coming out this year. I want it to come out in 2022, but I also wouldn't be shocked if it didn't. And my number one game that I am fairly confident is coming out, Forspoken. That game looks all kinds of awesome.
That game looks awesome. I'm so excited for that.
Yeah.
Austin, what games are you most anticipating?
Yeah, so I mean, if I knew it was actually coming out, I would say Breath of the Wild 2, but I'm still not convinced that game is coming out next year. So, yeah, I'm kind of going to leave that off the list, but leave it as an honorable mention just in case it does come out. I think of the ones that are confirmed, though, definitely God of War Ragnarok would be my number one. I loved God of War. I think that's probably my favorite PS4 exclusive, and so really looking forward to that game. Also looking forward to Splatoon 3. It's another big one. I loved my time with Splatoon 2. It's a great multiplayer game, and really can't wait to dive back into that world with 3. Yeah, I think that's honestly probably it for me. I don't think I have any others.
So, I mean, there are a couple that really speak to me, like Forspoken, uh, Rainbow Six Extraction, which I'm actually super excited for, and it comes out in a couple weeks. Gran Turismo 7, The Dark Pictures, The Devil in Me, or The Devil Inside, The Devil in Me, yeah. But the big one for me, A Plague Tale Requiem. I can't believe we're getting a sequel to this game. I adore the first game. I literally have a drawing right here that a friend did of the main characters from it. And there is no game coming out next year that I'm aware of that I am more excited for than that.
Yeah,
Not
that's a game I never played the first one, but I know it. If I'm remembering correctly, didn't it just recently get some sort of next gen patch or
it
something?
got a next gen release. So yeah, it's also on Game Pass.
Yeah, that's one I need to play.
Yeah,
And it was a PlayStation Plus game too.
Yes.
Recently,
Yep.
right?
I highly, highly, highly recommend that game because when you say the magic words, that game sounds like it should be terrible. And that's when you say the game is literally a giant escort quest. And it sounds like the worst thing ever, especially after just playing the beginning of The Witcher 3 again, that escort quest, that's literally the first quest of the entire game. But it works. And it's heartwarming, it's moving, it's super fun. That game is incredible, and this second one I'm so excited for. I have no idea where it's going to go. No clue.
All right.
Fellas, are there any other little awards you would like to hand out? Or did you think we covered them all?
I would like to say world's sexiest podcast host to Seth.
I agree with this.
Yeah, the dude carries us on his big log carrying shoulders.
We
For
are
a
his gas can.
podcast. Yeah.
Most aerodynamic podcast host, the coach Kyle Newman. There we go. That's all I had to add.
That was beautiful. I am not going to go into detail on any of them, but I do have my top 10 of the year, and I'm just going to say them quick. And maybe I'll do a separate podcast going into detail more what they are. But my top 10 of this year are number 10, Returnal, number 9, Hitman 3, number 8, Fatal Frame Maiden of Blackwater, number 7, Alan Wake Remastered, 6, Inscription, 5, Guardians of the Galaxy, 4, Scarlet Nexus, 3, Life is Strange True Colors, 2, Resident Evil Village, and number 1, as we've talked about, The Medium. There were so many good games this year.
Yeah, it was a great year for games.
Everybody,
There's so many good games. I didn't get to play all of them. Like,
yeah, everybody talks about how there wasn't that big game, and it's like, sure, there wasn't, but look at all these other great games we have that have their moment to shine because of it. Guardians of the Galaxy. Do you think that really would have shown as much as it did if it was sitting next to God of War Ragnarok?
No, probably not.
Like, there are so many amazing games that have their moment this year. And like you said, there are so many we didn't even get to play. Like, we both have Tales of Arise just sitting here waiting for us.
I got that. I got Scarlet Nexus. I still want to check out Hitman 3. I should have let you earlier. I have the Medium, just like still shrink wrapped. Like, I barely got to spend the amount of time I wanted to in Riders Republic. I barely got to spend the time I wanted to in Battlefield. Like, there's just so much to play. Like, I might not buy a video game next year. Like, unless there's like a Star Wars or a comic book game, those might be the exceptions just for short box summary and Star Wars for my own sanity. But like, I might actively try to like not buy a game full price at all next year.
And like I'm with you on that. I actually just took a not poll but suggestions on Twitter of indie games that released in 2021 that people recommend, and I have a list of almost 60 games.
Yeah.
And I've purchased probably 10 to 15 of them right now. And like I'm going to keep looking for those games on sale to play. And I'm limiting myself to one full price game a month and one reduced price game, we'll say. So like next month I'm getting Rainbow Six Extraction. That's a $40 game. That's a reduced price game. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I was just kind of scrolling through like the stuff coming out of curiosity, and yeah, I mean, I might buy Pokemon Legends Arceus, but aside from that, I don't think I'm really going to be buying anything in the spring. I mean, there's really nothing I'm looking forward to. So
like there's a bunch I'm looking forward to, but why should I spend $60
right,
when in November I can just buy them all for half price or less?
yeah,
Yeah.
So like
yeah. I mean, I've
hit,
got
hit
so much I need to play.
Hitman 3 you can get for $20 right now.
Right.
So there's no point to pay full price unless you're talking about it right away. And like you said, we have so many games to play. So many.
So ridiculously many games to play.
I made a list of games I want to play in 2022 that's at over 40 strong right now, and it's all games I own.
I didn't meet my goal. My goal was to get to 100 platinums by the end of the year. I'm clearly not going to do that. I kind of burned out on games. Like after Mass Effect 2, I just needed to like take a break. So I'm at 87. So that's going to be my first goal, I guess, is to like finish Mass Effect 3, get that platinum, and then try to get to 100 by the end of next year, I guess. I think I set the goal a little too high because I think that meant 30 platinums this past year, which is just kind of a lot.
It is, and put it this way, it's not, but at the same time it is because you are choosing actual good games to platinum. So
Yeah,
there's a difference.
I got Hannah Montana the movie, the game, just as like if it weren't a PS3 game, like if that were a PS5 game, I would not have bought it. But the fact that it's like a PS3 game and I've just got such a boner for the PS3 right now, that's like the reason I bought it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But just, don't count out that there are some littler easy platinums that are good games.
I already did that. I got Metagal. I got 36 Fragments of Midnight.
Severed is a
Severed, I
great
do need
easy
to go back
platinum.
and finish.
Yeah,
I got stuck on a boss fight in that, and so
I do need to
gave
get the
up.
platinum in that.
it's
But
very
like
easy.
things like Cthulhu Saves Christmas,
Yeah.
Chernobylite, I just mentioned. Chernobylite isn't short. I think I put like 13 to 14 hours into it, but it's an easy platinum and it's a fun game.
All right.
So like
I got some game where you're like a coffee barista.
Coffee
That was on
Talk.
sale. Yeah,
Yeah,
got that one.
I really want to play that. That's on my list to get.
All right. So we'll do another episode at the beginning of the year. We'll talk about games we're looking forward to. We'll talk about goals we've got.
Yes.
Compare ourselves to our goals from last year.
So
And I'm looking forward to it.
yes, as am I. We've got some good stuff coming up too. George and I are doing a new show every month, and I wish I had a PS3 next to me just to hold up to the camera for literally no one listening to this to see, but it is PS3 related.
Yeah.
So we have that coming as well. You can find us. Let me see if I can remember all this by heart. Find us at any podcast source at Frameskip Podcast. You can email us any questions at frameskippod@gmail.com, frameskippodcast@gmail.com, or bit.ly/frameskipq. Find us on Twitter. George is at purplebird616.
Yeah.
Austin is at Austin J. Eller.
Yeah.
Seth is at Seth the 90s Kid. Don't follow him.
Yeah.
Coach is at FrameSkipPod.
Boo.
Wow.
Get a handle, Coach. Get a handle.
You can find me at Local Lizard Man. Also find me streaming on Twitch every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night at 8 p.m. Variety of different things. And boys, do you have any last words?
Yeah, I got a couple. If you think there's something we could do to improve the show, please let us know. And if there's something you really enjoy about the show, please let your friends know. We would love to grow the show. If we get a bigger audience, we can get people we want to interview, people we want to ask questions on the show, and that'd be really, really exciting. And so you can help us grow the show, so please do that if you can. Also, please check out Shortbox Summary if you're inclined to check out a podcast about comic books. You guys are coming on to record next week, which means that episode will be out probably towards the end of January, because I wanted to give myself like a little buffer between producing the show and releasing the show. But we're going to talk about Young Avengers pretty soon. I'm very excited.
My comic book love is in there, and I'm excited.
Yeah, big Patriot fan, right?
Yeah.
Right, George? All right.
Also, that's a good point. Go Pats. Go Pats. Falling apart these past 2 weeks, that's fine.
Well, I was talking about like the comic book character, but I mean.
Oh yeah, sorry, the Patriot in the comic. Yeah, okay.
George just derailed his own conversation.
No, I got paranoid about the Pats like not making the playoffs. I was doing like playoff math and calculus, trying to figure out what exactly has to happen. Sorry, I'm on a very short football fuse right now. I'm freaking out. I'm in a couple league championships. I'm also in like a couple toilet bowls. So like I really gotta do my best.
I made it into 2 league championships.
Yeah, buddy. Me too.
One of them is thanks to Jason Sanders.
God, who saw that coming? Yeah.
I was down 5 points going into last night. Yeah. But thanks, everybody. And until next time, good night, listeners. Good night.
Where do you keep finding the jingle ball?